Hello everyone. Alsós is a Hungarian trick-taking card game that was very popular in the early 20th century. It went through an evolution from the late 19th century when it was conceived until its decrease in popularity in the 1950s. Many forms of it were played and it never had a governing body that would formalize the rules or make it into a competitive card game. The version I'm about to show you is based on a book by József Pajzs. It's relatively new from the early 2000s, but I will mention older forms in a follow-up video that have a slightly different emphasis on certain parts of the game. So the game can be played by 2, 3 or 4 players. With 4 players the dealer sits out, but no more than 3 players can take part in the game at one time. The 2 and 3 player games are quite different. The 2-player version was formed later, but it became very popular. Some later authors even mentioned that it's mostly played by 2. Pajzs's description only describes the 2-player game, so I'll start with that. The game is played with a Hungarian deck, which has 32 cards, 7, 8, 9, 10, under, over, king and ace in the 4 suits of acorns, leaves, bells and hearts. If you don't have such a deck, just get one because it's very nice, but if you don't wish to purchase one or you cannot get hold of it, then a regular 52 card deck of cards will do. Just remove all the cards 2 to 6 from it. The basic aim of the game is to win more valuable cards in tricks than your opponent. Aces are worth 11 points. 10s are 10 points, kings are 4, overs are 3, non-trump unders are 2 points, non-trump 9s, all the 8s and all the 7s are 0 points each. The trump under, all show, is worth 20 points, the trump 9 is worth 14 points, and winning the last trick is 10 points as well. The cards beat other cards of the same suit, except trumps, which beat other suits as well. If a card is worth more points than another one, they are stronger as well in that same suit, of course. And among pointless cards, a higher one beats a lower. There are further goals that one can achieve and get victory points for, but only if they announce this attempt. This combination of point trick taking and special goals is what makes the game unique and exciting, especially for 2-player games where there is little competition for Alsós. So after shuffling the cards and deciding who deals first by any convenient method, the dealer deals 4 cards to the opponent, 4 to himself, another 4 to the opponent, 4 to himself. So 8 cards will be seen during the bidding phase. The next card is turned up as a trump indicator or a proposed trump card. And now, after that, 4 more cards are dealt to each player, these 4 cards. Then the bottom card of the talon, so this was at the bottom, is turned up and put on the rest of the talon, placed crosswise on the trump indicator. So now in this case the trump indicator is the 10 of bells, and the bottom card of the deck, which now is on top of the talon, is the 7 of bells. So now the players see 8 of their own cards plus 2 open cards on the table. Starting with the non-dealer, the players can now accept the turned up trump suit or reject it. If someone accepts the suit, the bidding is over. The only obligation at this point is for the acceptor to win more combined trick and meld points than their opponent. If no one accepts this suit, then again, starting with non-dealer, they can propose a different suit or no trumps, but speaking only once. The suits have a hierarchy. Pajzs's description uses the older hierarchy of acorns, leaves, bells, hearts, no trumps, from low to high. Alsós players in the 30s to 50s often elevated acorns as the top suit right below no trumps. This hierarchy simply means that the non-dealer names a suit in the second round of bidding, if applicable. Then the dealer can overrule it by choosing a higher ranked suit or no trumps. If no one chooses a game in this second round either, then they pick up the remaining 4 cards and they can bid a battle game, which means losing all the tricks without the use of trumps. No one wants to do that either. A forced game called Klopitsky is played, again without trumps and no declarations, where only the number of tricks matter. Whoever wins the most tricks loses the game. So once a suit or no trumps game is chosen, so we're not talking about a Batley or a Klopitsky scenario, so either a trump or no trumps have been chosen, starting with the accepting player, feats called figurák or bonuses in English can be announced for a double score, because they are undertaken only having seen 2/3 of one's hand, so you only see 8 out of your 12 cards. So whatever you announce up front, as they say, is worth double. In this version of the game, kassa, I'll talk about it later, can only be announced by the player that chooses the game. Is also called a taker or declarer. The opponent can double the game or any other bonus announcement. This is called a contra. Contra from 8 cards, also known as upfront, quadruples the value of the named element. So for contra on the game is quadruple value of the game. The announcer of a bonus or a game can then say recontra to this, which again quadruples the value from upfront. Higher contra levels were often allowed, sub contra, mord contra, hirsch contra, fedák, sári, and all these kind of things. But in this version we only use the 2 levels of contra and recontra. So once the front announcements and contras are settled, if there is any, the players pick up the rest of their cards. And here, before the play of the cards would begin, more things can happen. So let's simulate that. So in this case, the non-dealer would reject bells and I would take it. You'll soon see why. So I'll take bells and we pick up the rest of the cards. So now we have these cards, and they pick up these 4 cards. Well, they got some nice cards, so they got the trump under and the king of trumps, got a low acorn, and they have a under in hearts. So this is what the opponent has, this is what I have. So now more things can happen, especially with a special scenario like this. So only if the original suit was accepted and the 2 table cards are of the same suit, like in this case, or the visible card on top, so this one, if it would be any ace, it doesn't have to be bell, so any ace here, or if the 2 cards are the same suit, special exchange of cards can happen called a síber. It's an old Hungarian slang for stealing. This can be done before the play of cards by the player holding the necessary card. The lowest card in this original trump suit that's not seen in the visible cards. It's usually the trump 7, but sometimes the 8 or even the 9, if the 7 or both the 7 and the 8 are seen in the talon. So in this case, it's the 8 because the 7 is there. So the 8 is the lowest card of the trump suit that can be used for the síber. The way it's done is that the player, starting with the taker, so I'm the taker in this case, can do the síber and then discard and make announcements. If it would be the taker's opponent, then I would do my announcements, my melds, and then it's the opponent's turn. So they would hear what I have to say before they even start doing the síber. So the way it's done is I announce síbelek. I place the síber card on the table, take or separate the 2 cards that I can pick up. After that, the bottom card is turned up again. So if this is a ace or a trump, I can pick that up as well. So now I turn it up again. It's not an ace, it's not a trump, so there it goes. I'll just put it there. So now I will pick up 3 cards. So I'll just put it in my hand after showing all the cards that were picked up to the opponent. Then after that, we have extra cards. So I have more than 12 cards, so I need to discard. So I'm left with 12 cards again. So when I discard, the only rule that was often used and is used in this version too, is that no trump card may be discarded. So the discarded cards are placed on the remaining pile, face down, not shown to the opponent, and are not seen until the end of the hand. So let's just do it for here. So I picked up 3, put down 1, so I can discard 2 cards. Probably the best is to get rid of leaves. The over of leaves is not 1, 2, 3. No, actually, it's not a good idea, because if I keep the over of leaves, then I can have 4 overs, which is a vannaks. So I'm gonna keep that for that 80 point. Discard this one, and let's say this 2. Okay, so I discard these 2 cards. I'm not gonna show them. Put it like this. So now I have 12 cards again. Just make sure to count it, because when you're so eager to make a she-bear, sometimes you can forget that you have to discard the right number of cards. So I have 12 cards, these 12. So I've done the she-bear. Now I will do my announcements, including melds, and then it would be the opponent's turn. So I'm not gonna play that hand, I'm just gonna detail the rules. So these are unseen until the end of the hand. So after this, bonuses for a single score can be announced, as well as card combinations called Kunststock or melds. These can be sequences of 3 to 8 cards of the same suit in their natural order. They are called terc, kvart, kvint, sext, sept, and oct. So terc is the 3 card sequence, oct is the 8 card sequence. 4 of a kind are called vannaks. Vannaks means they are here, or here they are. And the third special meld is called the béla, which is the king and over of the trump suit, in this case bells. This meld need not be announced at this point, the béla. It can be claimed even at the very end of the play, before the deck is shuffled for the next hand. When announcing melds, one only announces the type of their highest sequence and or vannak that they want to score. For example, kvart and the vannak. So with this I would announce vannak, referring to the 4 overs, and nothing else. I don't have anything else, so I would only announce a vannak in this case. At the end of the first trick, once bonus announcements and contras have been finalized, so it's important that the contra, recontra, all these kind of things, and from the back, for seeing your 12 cards, they are finalized at the end of the first trick, and only after then are the melds contested, if there's a meld contest. If both players have the same type of meld, first the height of it is mentioned. Then, if needed, the fact if one is in trumps or not. There can be no 2 equal vannaks, but equal sequences can happen if all of them are the same length, same height, and they are both in no trumps. In such case, these sequences cancel each other out in Alsós. Nobody scores sequences. In other cases, the better sequence and separately the better vannak is scored, in which case they are specified or shown by the player scoring them. For example, King of Hearts kvart and King vannak. Or in this case, I would specify the over vannak at the end of the first trick. The sequence specification mentions the highest card of it. So in this example, the previous example, if I would have like a King of Hearts kvart, then it would mean the king, the over, the under, and the 10 of hearts sequence. A major feature of Alsós are the mentioned bonuses or figurák. These only can be scored if they are announced from the front for a double value or from the back for a single value. So first bonus to mention is the kassa. It can only be announced by the taker, whoever chooses the game, and it replaces the simple game. Doubles its value when announced from 12 cards or quadruples it if it's announced up front from 8 cards. The condition for a kassa to succeed is to have the béla cards in hand at the same time, at least 1 point during the hand, whether them are being dealt or later exchanged from the talon. It's worth, so basically it's 4 points from announced from the front and 2 points if it's announced from the back. Absolute means winning absolute majority of trick points. This is 82 in a trump game or 66 in a no trump game. There are a total of 162 points in trumps and 113 no trumps available. Absolute is worth 3 points from the back and 6 points if announced from the front. 100 means winning 100 trick points or 80 in a no trumps game. It's worth 4 points from the back or 8 from the front. The only way to announce both absolute and 100 is to announce absolute from the front and 100 from the back. So if you want to announce both of them, you have to do the smaller one first and the more expensive one from the back. Trull or tuletroa means winning the top 2 and the bottom trump, under 9 and 7 of trumps in tricks. It's worth 2 points from the back or 4 from up front. 44, also known as 4 aces, it means winning all the 4 aces in tricks. It's 4 points from the back or 8 from up front. 200 means achieving 200 points from tricks and melds. So note the difference. In absolute and 100 you can only use trick points. In 200 you can use melds as well. Same value as 100, so it's 4 points from the back, 8 from the front. Család means family. So család means winning all the ace, king, and over of trumps in tricks. So basically the trump, ace, terc cards. It's worth 2 points from the back or 4 from the front. Összes Adu means all trumps. Means winning all the trumps that have a point value in tricks. So every trump card except the 7 and 8. So you can think of it as the ace of trumps sexth cards, so the top 6 cards of the suit in their natural order, winning them. It's worth 6 points from the back or 12 from the front. Volat is winning all the tricks. Simple as that. It's worth 10 points from the back or 20 from the front. Announced bonuses should be written down traditionally on a slate with a chalk, so it's easy to track who announced or contrad what and when. So especially when there are lots of announcements and contras, then just better to write them down and then use that at the end of the hand. So when all the announcements are made, the taker's opponent in this version, So it's always whoever chose the game, the opponent, is who leads to the first trick. Except if it's a Klopitsky game, then it's the non-dealer. So there's no taker in a Klopitsky. So in a Klopitsky, the dealer's opponent leads to the first trick. Suit must be followed. If you are unable to follow a suit, then you must play a trump. There is no obligation to win the trick, however. If there was no Schieber, but the original suit was accepted, any player, when they are on lead, can exchange only the trump card with the 7 of trumps. The tricks are then played out, or at any point a player can give up. If that happens, then the yet undecided bonuses and the game are awarded to the opponent, as if the opponent has won them. Special case of giving up can happen in the second trick, when no bonus other than a kassa was announced. So it's only a game or a kassa, nothing more. Then regardless of the contras that were given, so the game could have been contrad or recontrad, up front, from the back, it doesn't matter. So unless there's something higher than something more than a kassa was announced, then you cannot say this gyerünk announcement. But regardless of the doubling level, any player can call gyerünk when they are playing a card to the second trick. This is a call to double the current game or kassa value, or to give up on the previous value. If it's refused by saying nem megyek, which means not going, gyerünk means let's go. So if you say I'm not going, then you refuse the call, then this doubling effect takes place. So if the other player gives up, they only lose the value before this doubling. So if the gyerünk is not accepted, the player who said the gyerünk can then contra it in this version, which then can receive a recontra from the opponent. After this, the rest of the tricks are played out, or alternatively, any side can give up the game in one of the subsequent tricks, as mentioned previously. At the end of the hand, the béla, if it has not yet been announced, can be scored. The valuable cards taken in tricks are counted, adding 10 points for whoever won the last trick, and scoring melds are added, only the ones that were scored. The game is won by the player who has more trick and meld points total than their opponent, and is worth 1 for a trump game or 2 for a no trumps game. In case of a tie, the taker's opponent wins. So the taker has to have more. The opponent can still win if it's a tie or a draw. In a battle game, it's worth 10 points. And if it's a Klopitsky game, it's worth 3 points. Note that in Battley and Klopitsky, 10s are in their natural place below the unders, and no melds or other figures can be announced. The figures have separate goals. Those are evaluated as well now at the end of the hand to see which side has won which. The game is usually played for a target called rádli, which is it's a target score to reach, typically 80 points. Whoever reaches this over several deals gets a 20-point bonus, and then the margin of victory will be the difference between the two players' score. Note that at the end of the hand, only one player writes a score. For example, a game is contrad up front for 4 points, and the declarer announces absolute from the back for 3 points, which then succeeds. But the game is lost because perhaps a high value meld from the defender. The end result is 1 point for the defender, which comes from winning 4 for the game for the defender, but losing 3 for the absolute, which the taker has made. If you want to play a shorter game, you could have a 40-point target, a 40-point rádli with a 10-point bonus, or a 20-point rádli with a 5-point bonus. There are many variations of this game, especially around figure values, possible figures, Radley scoring methods, details around how the first trick goes. So I will detail this and the 3-player game in a follow-up video. Thanks for watching.